Alastair, tough game today. What do you take out of that one?
Well, we're much better in the second half. First half, I thought, Judo was terrific. They punished us enormously on balls that we either fumbled or turned over, and they're very slick with their ball movement, and but we contributed to some of that by just making mistakes with the ball. That we get a little bit more experienced, a little bit more composed, just look after the ball a little bit better, and probably won't leave our defenders so exposed. But we're a little bit better than that in the second half, and I think they scored the last 2 or 3 goals of the game. But the second half was a lot more even in the scoreboard contest than what it obviously was in the first half.
Was there anything you changed up at half time? It seemed like 10-minute mark in the third quarter, something clicked. Was there anything that you reminded the guys of? Or?
We're a lot better in the contest in the second half than what we were in the first. That's why I said, we fumble balls or coughed up balls that the Giants were able to expose us from, particularly from congestion in around clearance in the first half. So we challenged our players at half time about being a bit better in that space, and they were after half time, but not enough to get us seriously back into the game, but at least it was more of a contest in the second half than it was in the first.
They managed 21 marks inside 50, I think, which is a pretty high number. Is that on the defence? Because they seem to be working pretty hard, or is that the up-ground pressure on the ball, you think?
It's a little bit of both, but part of it is what I was talking about just before, and that's we fumbled balls that we had our hands on the footy, and we gave the ball back to them, and a lot of our players are running expecting that we're going to use the ball, and then we make an error, and our defence is destabilised because we feel like we're on offence. So that gives an opposition the best chance to be able to score when it's that type of play. So fundamentally, we've got to fix up those errors and limit them. Every side makes them. Just when you're a little bit more inexperienced, you might make a few more. So we just got to. But that'll come with more exposure to the level, and we've got a lot of guys playing through the middle of the ground, right across our ground, really. That is still learning the game, and with that comes a little bit of inconsistency. But as I said, we're a little bit better than that in the second half.
Yes, the centre square sort of seemed to be especially a good area for you in that second half as well.
Well, it's just so important against the Giants that you give yourself a chance from particularly centre bounce. So I thought they were on top in that area a little bit early in the game, but we got a little bit better in the second half in that space. But we'll just keep working at our game. We came up against a good opponent that would have been really disappointed with their performance against Western Bulldogs last week. So we knew it was going to be tough in that space. Those sorts of guys don't drop their guard in that space very often, the GWS players. So we knew they were going to be strong in that area, and we just couldn't match them earlier in the game. But we're a little bit better in the second half.
Cooper Trembath obviously must have been happy with his debut. What did you sort of make of him?
Yeah, we got 6 goals out of our young guys. Like Cooper Harvey's played 6 or 8 games, and Geordie Payne and the other Coop, they're playing their debut game. So for those guys to kick 6 goals between them was pretty good. So they've made contributions for us. We're pleased with not just the progress to playing AFL footy, but they've done some hard yards on their journey to date, and they 2 of them got their start today. So we're pleased with how they're going.
And the second,
So also nice for his grandma and family up in the crowd, although she was a bit teary at times.
Well, it's great for any young fellas who make their debuts right across the competition, and you're seeing clubs more and more involve the families, and because it's a long, hard journey to get to AFL footy. So, and it's usually a lot of recognition of a lot of people that have helped them get to that point in their careers. But really, the debut is just the start of the hard work for a lot of these lads, and but hopefully the family can share in the journey, and that would have been exciting for the 2 families involved today. Both their boys kick goals.
second half, it looked like, is that where you want to get with the rebuild? Like, it's been a slow journey. Is that sort of the brand of footy you want to see the Roos play?
Yeah, well, we're just able to move the ball a little bit better in the second half than what we were in the first, and challenge the Giants' defence. They got a terrific defence that takes a lot of intercept marks, and they got a lot of marks off our boot again today. Himmelberg and Taylor in particular, just terrific competitors behind the ball that made it difficult for us to penetrate, and with such a young forward line ourselves. There was an area of the game that, probably looking at the sides at the start of the game, you'd think that was going to be an area of the ground that they'd probably have ascendancy over us. So, but just the exposure that our young lads get to that, and just got to continue to grow. All our players have got to start somewhere, and for a couple of them they started today, and we'll just continue to work on our game, and as we're showing in patches of games that we can trouble opposition. Just the challenge for us is to do it early in games, but also to do it for more than just a quarter or 2 quarters.
What's the focus for the next 2 weeks, getting ready sort of for the off-season and next season? What are you going to look to see out of guys?
Well, outside of the 9 sides that are still in contention for finals and going into September, there's 9 other sides that have probably got their eye on 2026, and so that's exactly what you're talking about before. How can you defend a little bit better? How can you attack a little bit better? How can you get your stoppage game? How can you give some younger players some continued exposure to the level? So we've got 2 games to go, one against Richmond down in Tassie next week and another against Adelaide the week after at Marvel. And anything we can do to help us in regard to preparation for next year is really valuable for our group.
Giants used width a bit through the game to transition from defensive half. How hard is it to block out that sort of horizontal space on a ground like Monaco?
Yeah, and they're a very, very good side at switching the footy, and most of that comes from their capacity to intercept the ball in the first instance, as I said, with Himmelberg and Taylor. So once again, you're on offence, and they can probably take some liberties a little bit with the view that those really, really talented intercept defenders for them are pretty capable of winning the ball. So in a lot of instances, their guys are already set up before they've even won the ball. So that makes it tough, and it's a real strength of their side, and has been for a long, long period of time. So that's the reason why they've played regular finals footy, and deep into finals too. So they're a really talented side, and I'm sure their back end will be a key reason why, if they go deep into September, that'll be one of the reasons why.
And I think you touched on the fumbles. Was some of that like having those new faces and getting the connection right between the different lines, or do you just think it was a bit of an off day early on?
Well, some of it's just pressure applied or perceived pressure, and we were better at it after half time. But there were some balls that we had hands on the footy that we'd expect, and their teammates expect, that we're going to move the ball forward, and we fumble it, and it goes back the other way with mayonnaise on it. So we just keep working at our game, and hopefully get better in that space.
How's Hardiman and Wardle?
Yeah, well, Hardy had to go out of the game with concussion, so he'll go into protocols, and obviously miss next week. And George just tweaked an ankle, and he's able to return to the field and play the second half, so he's no drama.
And just one more thing, there was a bit of chat in local media here that Team 20 is on the table. What did you think of Monaco as a venue to coach at and to watch footy at? Yeah,
well, the surface is fantastic, and this is a ground that's been used for a long time in AFL footy. So, because it doesn't get the exposure of weekly games, the surface is just outstanding. It's a little bit like the ground down in Tassie, Launceston and Hobart. So the surface is terrific, and there's a passionate AFL crowd here in Canberra that loves AFL footy. So the AFL will work that out where their 20th licence will be. I think 19 is an awkward number for a competition, so it's either going to get to 20 pretty quickly, I'd reckon, after Tassie come in. So, but then it'll be paper, scissors, rock. Which state gets it?
Do you have a favourite? Remember, you are in Canberra.
Yeah, no, not really. They'll work it out though. Yeah, good on you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Alastair.